Hey, good morning. Good morning. This is Jake Adams, CPA from Tax Savings Team. I apologize. My throat is a little raspy this morning. I'm going to grab some tea. Got my chai tea in the morning. I love to start my day with some nice warm chai tea. All right, we are live here on Facebook. I'm going to give these guys just a couple minutes to jump on. I'm going to adjust my camera here just a little bit. Okay. Hey, who we got? Who jumped on? Quinn. Quinn, good morning, Quinn. Quinn is an awesome videographer over at Bay East Association of Real Estate Agents. Here, my local chapter of Realtors. Good morning, Quinn. All right, we're gonna give these guys just a couple more minutes to jump on. Let Facebook kind of announce that I am live, and in the recorded video, we're gonna go ahead and strip this part out. But thanks for hanging with me here. We're gonna get a couple more people to join on. Anybody else that's watching, please let me know. Just type in the comments, tell me who you are, what you're doing, how your day's going so far. Those on the East Coast, you're 3 hours ahead of me, so hopefully you've had a productive 3 hours so far. Who do we got? Tyler. Tyler, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining me. Who else we have? Jump on. When you jump on, just go ahead and type in the comments there. Just let me know who you are, where you're joining from, and welcome. Welcome to the Tax Savings Team. This is a daily kind of video that I'm trying to do live, giving you guys as much information, tax information as you can. This is focused in on tax professionals, enrolled agents, CPAs, and really with the goal of helping you develop your knowledge and giving more confidence in the value that you provide to your clients. Throughout this is almost a roadmap of how to create a dream practice, a dream tax practice, based on the clients that you want to work with, providing the services that you want to provide at the value that makes sense for you, so you can financially make what you want to make out of your tax practice. So we got a couple more people that joined on. Let me say good morning. Good morning, April. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Hey, thumbs up. Awesome. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get rolling here. Let me grab my marker. All right. So if you're not a tax professional, I want you to still stay with me through this video because we're going to be talking about how to save thousands of dollars on your taxes. If you have kids, if you have parents, this is going to be a great strategy for you to be able to shift your income to another person in your family. And some of the strategies that CPAs, enrolled agents, and tax pros talk about is, accelerating expenses, like the 179, buy a truck, right? Or buy a heavy SUV, and you can accelerate those expenses, or put money into a SEP or a 401k, and it's decelerating taxes. You're going to pay those taxes later. But in either case, you're going to be paying taxes anyway. This is one of the true ways, what I call the core four, one of the true ways that you can actually save money completely, eliminate taxes. And of course, you're really just taking it from one pocket and putting it to the other, because we're doing it with family. So when we're shifting income to our family members, there's a lot of tax benefits to that. And let's go ahead and talk about those right now. So hire the family. There's a couple different ways we can do this, and a couple different ways in your business could be structured. Now, the two most common business structures are a Schedule C and an S Corp. So let's go ahead and write those out right now. So this is your S Corporation, and this is your Schedule C. Now, what I want to first get started with is talking about hiring your kids. Now, you can hire your kids, and this is completely illegal. This is actually in the tax code. We have tax code citing this, and people have won in tax court using this strategy, and actually being able to hire their kids in their business and shifting their income from their income bracket to their kids' income bracket. So what we're going to be talking about right now is kids between the ages of 7 and 16. Whoa! I lost my board. All right. Technical difficulties, malfunctions. All right, we are live, you can tell. All right, so we're talking about not 7 to 16 kids, but 7 to 16-year-old kids. All right, and they got to be your kids. If not, we'll talk about that later. You don't have kids, we'll talk about shifting your income to nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, whatever you want to do. All right, so S corporation, Schedule C. Now, what happens with the S corporation, when you hire your kids inside the S corporation, they're not the S corporation's kids. So you can still shift it to a lower income bracket. However, you lose out on one really important tax, and that's the self-employment tax. So when you pay out of the S corporation, you have to pay the self-employment tax, which is about 15.3%. 15%. Sorry if you got a glare on that. All right, so 15% was self-employment tax. Now, do you want to pay an extra 15% in taxes? No, probably not, right? So we don't want to pay the extra 15% taxes. What we want to do is shift this over to a Schedule C. So whenever we're paying our kids, we always want to do it out of a Schedule C because there's no self-employment tax. Zero. No self-employment tax whatsoever, which is an amazing strategy because you don't have to pay the self-employment taxes for the kids' Social Security, FICA, FUTA, all that stuff. And that's actually left over from hundreds of years back in the farming days, right? Where the farmers were like, well, I don't want to pay money to Social Security. I'd rather keep that money, you know, in the family. You know, the kids are working on the farm. If they get hurt, we're going to fix them, right? So the self-employment tax is zero for your kids. Now let's see what this would essentially do in practice, right? So let's say, and I don't have the tax brackets in front of me. I'm not going to bore you with the tax brackets. But let's say you're at the 24% tax bracket, right? So if you're the 24% tax bracket, you know, if you're here in California, you've got probably 3 or 4% for California. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that off because we're going to do this nationwide. And then we're going to add in 15% for self-employment tax because with the Schedule C, you're not paying that. So you're saving it, right? So 15% equals 39%. That's a 39% saving. So that means that if you pay your kids $1,000, it saves you $390 of taxes. $390. Now, with the 2018 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, you can actually pay your kids up to $12,000 a year. That's right, $12,000. Now, it has to be actual work performed. So, you know, maybe your 16, 17-year-old kid can do $12,000 worth of work, maybe social media management, you know, talking with clients, sales, maybe. So if they can make $12,000 a year, that's awesome, right? Because even if they just do 10,000, 10,000 at 39% is $3,900. Right, let me say that again. $3,900, just shy of $4,000 completely eliminated from your tax bill by shifting your income to your kids. Now, if you've got 4 kids, right, you've got 4 times 4, what is that, 12, right? $12,000. Oh no, that's even more. 4 times 4 is 16, right? $16,000 of tax savings, right? Hopefully you're not paying a lot of tax with 4 kids at home, right? But if you are, and you can shift, then that's $14,000 of tax savings. So $16,000, sorry, $16,000. I'm a little slower on my math when I'm doing live videos. All right, so 39%, that's an amazing savings, right? You with me? Very cool. All right, so what if you don't have kids at that age? Well, if you have nieces and nephews, it's really easy. If you have the S corporation or you have your own business as a Schedule C, all you have to do is pay your brothers or your sisters Schedule C. So then this could be like your brother or your sister, and then they have kids, right? Then out of their Schedule C, then they pay their kids. So you can essentially shift that income to your nieces and nephews, right? And you can say, well, why do I want to do that? Well, if you shift the income, they can actually gift that money back to you if you really want to. Or you could say, hey, I'm doing really well. I'd rather pay this money to my nieces and nephews than to federal taxes. How about that, right? So most people are in that situation where they're like, hey, I'd rather pay a member of my family, even if it's indirect member of my family, than pay the federal government taxes. So this is an awesome way to completely eliminate taxes. This isn't shifted. This is income shifting, but it's not tax shifting. It's not tax acceleration or deceleration or pushing your taxes out to a later year. This is completely eliminating your taxes. All right. So now you might be asking me, okay, well, I don't have kids. I don't have anybody that has kids, right? What do I do? So let's go ahead and talk about hiring your parents, right? Or the you know, or your parents in your business, right? So in the parents, you can do either the S corporation or the Schedule C. It doesn't matter. Now you're not going to get it as big of a bang for this, but I still want to mention it because again, it's hiring your family, not just your kids. You can do this, you know, across generations, up, down, back, and forth. So you can do either your Schedule C or your S corporation, and essentially you're going to be paying your parents as a consultant. Now you can do this as a 1099 miscellaneous as a contractor, or you can do it as an employee. Either way is fine. With employee, you have to run payroll, so there's some additional costs there, and additional payroll forms and taxes and stuff like that. So you may want to do it as a 1099, but with the 1099, they're going to have the self-employment taxes. So you kind of have to look at both and figure out what's best for you and what's best for the family as a whole. But when you're hiring your parents as a consultant, right, they could be a marketing consultant, an advertising consultant. You know, if your parents have a good amount of experience in the industry, you can hire them as a consultant to that industry, right? Again, I focus on real estate, so real estate agents are great in that case because you can really say, hey, my parents had great experience with the railroad industry for 30 years. So they're going to help me focus in my real estate advertising and marketing on railroad beneficiaries or railroad employees. How do I find those railroad employees? Where do they congregate? How do I contact them? How do I work with them? You know, those kind of things, right? So your parents can be a consultant in many different ways and many different aspects, whatever they're really good at. That's the best way of doing it, right? So what's going to be happening is we're going to be hiring our parents as a consultant, and you're not going to get as big of a bang, like I said, as opposed to the kids. But let's say that you're at a 24% tax bracket, and your parents are at a 10% tax bracket. Then the 24, the minus 10 is a 14% savings. Now that's still really good because when you're thinking about hiring a consultant, especially like an advertising or marketing consultant, you're going to pay that person probably about $1,000 a month, right? So if you do this for 10 months, let's say $10,000, and $10,000 at 14% is $1,400 of tax savings. Now this is, again, complete tax savings, where it's dollar for dollar savings on your taxes because we're working exactly with tax brackets here. Now, if you're in California or Connecticut, New York, a state with high income taxes, you're gonna save even more on this, right? So those states with high income tax brackets, you're gonna save even more on this, which is really, really good. So any questions, any comments, feel free to drop those in. If you're watching live, let me know what you're thinking. We've got, who have we got online? We've got Mooney's here today. Awesome. Frank, Javier, Cynthia. Awesome. It's great to have everyone on. Thank you so much for joining me here live today. We're talking about the tax savings team hiring your family. This is your kids and your parents. We just got done talking about the parents here. So feel free to comment if you have any questions, comments. Feel free to let me know. Kids, parents, hiring the family, nieces, nephews, grandparents, long lost uncles. Anything you got, any questions you have, feel free to type that in. If you're watching this on the replay, feel free to type those in as well, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, the questions on your comments. All right, so this is it for the tax savings. What I want to do is focus in on the tax savings team. Now, the tax savings team, like I mentioned before, is exclusively for real estate. So exclusively for, see, I'm still in my real estate agent. Exclusively for enrolled agents, CPAs, tax professionals that are growing their practice, or they're stuck in their practice and they're burnt out because they're just like, oh, I'm stressed out. I've just got too much to do. I don't have the time to do what I want to do with my practice, with my family, and they're getting stressed out because they don't really have a direction, and we haven't designed our practice in the way that we want to specifically design it. So the tax savings team and how this works in regards to the tax savings team is that I want you to be able to use this as a position of of knowledge, right? And to give you the authority and to give you the tips and the training and the things that you need and the information that you need to be able to share this kind of stuff with your clients, because your clients love this kind of stuff. Your clients want to hear this from you. And your clients are willing to pay for this because they're not hearing about this anywhere else. About this, the hire the kids is you go into Google and type in, hire your kids, you're going to see stuff from Forbes, you're going to see stuff from Money Week, you're going to see stuff from these really high-end publications that are talking about this. The problem is that all they say is hire your kids, and then they're done, right? Because they're an editorial publication. But what you really want to do is say, hey, I'm going to actually help you implement this. And what do you need to implement this? Well, you need to know about the child labor laws. You need to know how many hours your kids can work. You need to know what kind of things those kids can do. And what I've put together through the tax savings team and what I want to share with you is these ready-to-use templates where you can actually give your client something that says, okay, you have a 7-year-old son, your 7-year-old son or daughter, they can do this inside the business. And hey, we've already created a timesheet for you. All you have to do is give this to your client. They're going to give it to their son or daughter. Their son or daughter is going to sign off on it. And they're going to say, hey, this is awesome. Now what do I do? We're going to say, hey, now you go through a payroll form. How do you do the payroll forms? We've already done them for you. How do you write the check? This is how you write the check, right? This is who, this is who. How do you deposit that check? Well, this is exactly how you set up an UTMA account at Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Credit Union, whoever you want to go with. This is an UTMA account. This is how it's different. This is a child's savings account or a child's checking account, depending on how old they are. So these are all the things that Forbes and Money Week and these huge editorials, they don't talk about. But these are the things that really need to be implemented with your clients. And through Tax Savings Team, through the templates that we're going to be able to give you, you're going to be able to walk through this step by step with your client and have videos that'll walk your client step by step through each of these processes. So it's something that's not even going to take you more than an hour to do, but there's a lot of value in it, and the value is through leverage. Leveraging your time, leveraging your resources, leveraging your assets, and leveraging the value that you can provide your clients, because it's the same questions that every client has. So by doing videos, by doing recording, by showing yourself, by showing up, and by recording this content, each of your clients can get the same result, and each of your clients can get the best value from you when you're at your best, as opposed to having to call you at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, I set up that checking account you told me to, what's next, right? You're like, the best thing to do is, hey, watch the video, right? I've created this roadmap for you. All you have to do is watch the videos, do the roadmap, do the checklist step by step, and you're done. And you on your way are going to be able to save thousands and thousands of dollars on your taxes. So this is a huge amount of value, but I don't want you to give this away to your clients for free. I'm going to repeat that. We're going to make it easy, but just because it's easy, I don't want you to give it away for free. I want you to have the confidence to say, I am a tax strategist. I am part of a tax savings team, a group of highly trained and qualified CPAs, enrolled agents, and tax pros that are going to be working proactively to get you the best savings on your taxes. That's what I want you to be able to confidently say to your clients. And when you're able to confidently say that to your clients and articulate that to your clients, you can feel free and feel empowered to charge more, because you're providing additional value to your client. So it's not about, hey, I'm increasing your tax return rate by $20 this year because it's a cost of living, or I'm increasing it by $50 because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and No, I want you to feel confident and comfortable charging your clients $1,000 or more to put together a strategy plan, implement this, right? So if you look back at the core four, the S corporation, the hire the kids, the 14-day Augusta rule, the HRA, I want you to feel comfortable with charging no less than $10,000 for that tax plan. Let me say that again. I want you to feel comfortable and confident in charging no less than $10,000 for that tax plan that covers the core four. Now I want you to stop and think for a second. What would you do with $10,000? What kind of trip would you take? What kind of car would you drive? Would that encourage you? Would that empower you to let go of a couple PITA clients? We call them PITA, the PITA clients. How would that allow you to radically change your practice if you could charge $10,000 for one tax strategy plan? And that's what I want to leave you with today. We're going to be, so this is wrapping up the core 4. And again, thank you so much for spending time with me here live or on the replay. I know your time is very valuable. So we talked about hiring the kids, but more importantly than that, these are the tools that are going to help you grow your business and have the business and lifestyle business that you want to have. So thank you so much for joining me. Once again, my name is Jake Adams with the Tax Savings Team, and have a great rest of your day.